All right, welcome to Invest in You. Today we will talk about a few things from one of my books. The book is called Options Strategy, and I will talk about the O in the acronym OPPORTUNE. So it stands for owner opportunity. So actually it stands for owner dependence. But the opportunity as the owner is to become less of a dependency and less of a trap. So why your business may own you more than you own it will really be the focus here. So there will be a book, an audible made later. And in this case, this is not what's written in the book. It is free-flowing information linked to how you can think. And once again, welcome back to Invest in You. So today I will talk about something that can be more uncomfortable for founders, owners, consultants, investors, anyone building something more serious. Here it is. The business can create freedom, but you might quietly become something that the business actually owns. So sit on that for a second. So ultimately, your freedom vehicle now owns you and owns your time. And that could be a tough sentence and a tough pill to swallow. But the cool thing, this is just one of the tests in any business. If you're getting ready to sell or getting ready for a longer vacation or thinking about having the ridiculous statement called work-life balance, then this episode is 100% for you. So most founders say that they own a business, but in reality, the business owns their calendar. The business owns the attention, the business owns the weekend, the business sometimes goes before the kids and the wife, and ultimately it owns the whole nervous system. And you're hardwired, you are one with the business, which means many people thinking about selling the business get cold feet in the last second and they don't sell. Why? Because if they sell the business, they sell their identity, which means many people have not had any long holidays. Many people are very much in the claws of their customers. Well, I don't have any customers. I only have like tenants. Well, guess what? They are also your customers. You have a business which is doing content and media, for example, a podcast or a YouTube channel. Guess what? If you stop broadcasting, your tailwind of content will disappear, and so will your followers. So in a way, your followers, your audience also owns you and your time. All right, so if the business owns your decision making, that means you can actually start to take steps in order to get this slightly right. But you need to recognize this and also think about what are the options. So you started the company because you wanted more control. Yep. You want to have more money. Yep. You want to have more freedom. Yep. And you want to have more an upside. So reality for many people I coach, help, and support. Yeah, many people don't pay themselves a fair salary, number one. Many people do not feel that they got more freedom. Well, they don't have a boss, but you got a couple of indirect bosses. You got the government, you got the tax authorities, you got other key stakeholders. You might have like investors, and ultimately you also have customers and maybe even employees. So they own you. No, they own a fraction of your time. They might also own a fraction of the upside and ultimately stealing parts of your independence. So this podcast episode about O as owner opportunity, part of Opportune from the book Option Strategy, is all around finding some angles to this. And all of this is not because you're stupid, you're not alone, you're not lazy, and it's okay not to get paid for a certain amount of time, and you have not failed. Yet, I will share some ideas how this can be done better for you, for your customers, for your team, and so on and so forth. And actually, you will thank yourself. You probably won't thank me, but your team and your customers will also probably thank you because it is less dependent on you. All right, so you can handle the complaint, you can recruit the first person, you can fix the website, you can write the proposal, you might have AI to do this, but ultimately you are the problem solver. You might be the glue, you might be the customer service support, you might be the one picking up the phone. All right, great. You're not solo entrepreneur anymore, you now have a team, but you might have kept some of the core functions close to heart. That's usually around like payments. So the company can't pay bills unless you sign them off, which means you're now a little bit of a so-called bottleneck. And you need to multiply yourself and your time. So if you do that, you can start to see revenue increase. Also, more people from the outside admire you actually more, not for your grind, but what you can grow if it's not only depending on you. So you might measure yourself by grind, but most other people will observe the grind, but they might not see it as much as you feel it. So something might want to change. You might want to think about freedom, what it actually mean. Think about exit options. If you are the business and the key man, you're also the key man risk. That's how the buyers will see you. That's how the bank will see you. That's how partners will see you. You are a risk. So if your spouse is deciding to divorce you, well, you might not even have the energy to run the business, which means it implodes. So there are a couple of small changes that can happen. The cool thing, it's not forever. Those changes hopefully mean that you can disappear for like a month, 30 days, and things will not implode. So one of the things I do when I work with business owners, I do this like 2-week exercise where we do some kind of a remote workshop or retreat. And during those 2 weeks, you're not allowed to speak to your team. You're now working on yourself. You're working on the business, not in the business, which means you shouldn't be working in the business when you're working with me in that way. So you're not on calls, you're not responding to emails. Someone else, yes, is delegate someone else to actually do that on your behalf. Who knows? You might do like a digital fast as well. So you're staying away from your normal habits of being on social media as well, maybe when you do something like this. All right, so that means that you're not fixing the proposals. You might not do the selling, you might not do the payments, you might not do the responses. Guess what? The business will survive, your team will also survive. Guess what? They might thrive. They might do it even better with you absent. So that's an interesting one that I've seen many times over. Okay, so what does that mean? Do the customer need to wait? No, someone else will deal with it. Do they still pay you? Yep, because someone else sends the bills. Can you pay without paying yourself? Yeah, probably. So someone else can sign off those bills. Someone else might have the payment, access to the solutions, and so on and so forth. So this is not shame. This is not criticism. It's a small diagnosis, self-reflection. You or judging you. I'm not judging you. As it feels like I'm pointing a finger at you, I'm pointing 1, 2, 3 fingers back at myself and one up on someone else. So finger pointing, no. I'm just holding up a mirror so you can see for yourself what could be done differently. This is exactly kind of consulting I do. And if you don't want to work with me, I got lots of people I am happily keen to introduce you to. Or you can find stuff online or in a book or whatever. I don't mind how you do this, but you need to think about your own future by not being the only thing holding your business back. So key man dependency and so on. It can often be that you're the best salesperson. It means that you hold the customer relationships. Why not think about having a key account person, which might not be you. So someone else is having those relationships. Someone else might do the new business chasing as well. You got a hero with a grind, but you also got a hero leader that actually dares to delegate, which means you might in the beginning see more of late nights so that later you can automate You can delegate, you can stop doing unnecessary stuff so that later you have delegated out your tasks, your core functions. Now you can start to think about how can you create redundancy in your own team. How can the best salesperson be lowered as a key man risk as well? So all of a sudden now you got a whole pattern of how things can work. So as I'm recording this, I am covering two other people's jobs so they can be on holiday. And in this case, it's one person up and one person down. And I'm doing all three persons' jobs. And guess what? I'm not killing myself while doing all of that. It works. And that means that they can have holiday. Another time, in just a few weeks' time, it's my time to go on a leave away from work and not bringing work back home. Except you guys, of course, I will bring the podcast and the social media back home, but I won't take the other tasks with me. All right, so cool. Now let's look a little bit on solutions here. So you need to get stuff out of your head. You need to get instructions done. And the cool thing, AI is fantastic doing this. If you never tried Claude, now might be a good time to do that. Or any of your preferred AI tools. You can start to get stuff from your head down to paper, or making like a Loom video or instruction video, or a so-called SOP, standard operating procedure, which means you are scrutinizing what you do and how you do it, so someone else can follow that manual. And then the next step is to do that on all key positions in your business. So that means that it's easy with hiring, God forbid firing, but things happen, things outgrow you maybe, or outgrow their position, so they need to do something else. And this is a great way how they can delegate their task and do a so-called, in the military, handover, takeover of the responsibilities. If it's documented, it's easier. You might have a handover takeover document, which helps you with the roles, the history, the description of the role, expectations, metrics where they are measured upon. And guess what? You might want to have some measurement of yourself. And all of a sudden now you can see which measurements you'd like to give to someone else. So instead of getting it hard to grow, instead of having it hard to find a partner, uh, think about how this can be done. So if you're a strong founder, yeah, you need to let go a bit. That's it. So instead of getting bored, instead of getting trapped, instead of having a business which is stagnating on hold, you can now have a business which is growing. You might be more focused on finding partners and bigger things. So for example, one thing I'm working on the moment, AIM Holding, where I am the deal maker, I'm the general partner, I'm bringing people and businesses together into a platform. Guess what? That's a very high value activity, which means I'm delegating out some of the more mundane manual tasks in the process. So that means that if I can help the company to grow not like 5, 10, 25%, but actually times 2, times 4, times 5, times 10 by buying, acquiring other businesses, that's a great way how to think about what to do with your time. So every idea, every hiring choice, every expectation, every kind of judgment, that can be partly passed on to others. The cool thing by trusting others, that gives you status and also gives them status. And it allows them to feel more in control and you to be in control of something much bigger. So I think this makes sense. So I'm not sure what you think. If you think this does make sense, why not leave a comment or a review like, okay, this makes sense, or no, Fredrik, we need to dive deeper, or whatever it might be. Okay, so I'm not talking about anything becoming completely passive, but I'm talking about the optionality to make it more passive. I'm not saying you should try to live your business, but you have the option to later do that should you wish. So that means that you should not be the only person doing everything. Cool. I think we'll agree that so far. Okay, so I could go on about details, how this could be done, I think for now you've had enough of the monologue. So think about it, analyze, and maybe grab that book, which is almost like a recipe book for how you can do the key things to get yourself out of the grind and into the chairman role later instead. Much more, well, it's a different task. Simple as that. Right. So now it's up to you. What do you do with this episode? Do you do nothing? That's cool. Do you do something even cooler? Or do something and even leave a review? Well, that's fun. Um, so yeah, I look forward to hear your feedback. You can of course reach out to any social media to let me know what else you'd like to hear more about. We will do a more deep dive into terms of acquisitions, mergers, and we're moving more and more in that direction. Why? Because that's where I spend a lot of my time. So you might have seen we have had mergers acquisition specialists. We've had a lot of lawyers. We have a lot of really high ranking right now globally in terms of tax advice, which is not advice but hints. Um, and also in terms of legal, we also rank really high. So if you kind of like that, let me know. If you like more of something else, let me know. But we are talking more about private equity. Why? Because they might be the buyer of your business. We're talking less about the startups. And when we talk about startups, we talk more around the startup story. So people who took venture capital and whether that was a good idea or bad idea. So to help you on your growth journey. So my name is Fredrik Sandvall. Thank you for listening to Invest in You. Now let's remove you as the bottleneck or whatever you're doing. Not someday, this week. All right? Deal. See you soon again. Cheers. Bye bye.